Again, Chaydish. Baruch Hashem, it's Adar already. I was going through my recollections of last year, what was going through all of our heads. Rosh Chodesh Adar. That we all said, no, nothing's going to happen. It's all going to be okay. There was one person in Yerushalayim who had the virus, and maybe she went over here, she went over there. And no one took it seriously. And I remember a lot of people were trying to pressure guys to go home before Purim already because they were afraid flights were going to get canceled. And I said, Purim is a day of Adal Yoda. I don't know. Rabbi Sol Salanter says, now do not use this for Zak Halacha. Rabbi Sol Salanter says you should make sure to stay drunk the entire day. Because you think you know what Hashem's plan is. Everybody does. One day a year, you need to put yourself in a situation to show yourself, I have no clue. I do not know Hashem's cheshbon. It's not for me. Adal Yoda, until the point that I don't know what the master plan is. And I realize I'm not a Bardei anymore. So you're going to comment on where I'm standing, because I thought this was a nice view. Yam HaMelach. It's gorgeous. So we're going to do some thoughts I want to share with you from here on Inyanei Purim. As we all know, 2 weeks from, we have in Yerushalayim, Tesvav, Purim is Sholosh, 3 days of partying, okay. So, we're getting ready now for the Kabbalah Torah of Purim. What does this mean to us? What should we take away from it? So we'll start with the Gemara in Shabbos. Daf Peches Amud Aleph talks about Kabbalah Torah. Vaysyatzu tachta sahar, translated by Art Scroll, at the foothills of the mountain they were gathered. It really means under the mountain. Amr Bavdimi. Melamed, we learn from here, Shekav Aleim es Sahar Kigigas. Hashem put over the mountain on top of us like a barrel and said, Imatem Makabel Masatayra Mutav, if you Makabel Torah will be good for you. V'imlav Shamtei Givraschem, there will be your burial. And there was Maidar Rabbi Raisa. Rashi clearly comes and says, because we always say we'll have an excuse. Why didn't I keep Torah mitzvahs? What do you mean you forced me? But Hadar Kiblu b'mei Achashverosh. It was re-accepted by Achashverosh in the days of not by Achashverosh. It was re-accepted in the days of Achashverosh by the Yidden. Kimu v'kiblu, kiblu l'mala, kiblu l'mato, ma kiblu l'mash, kiblu kvar. They gave Makabel again what they already accepted. So I'm going to go through 4 questions, basic questions. The Welt asks, many of them are brought down in different places, but we're going to go through 4 questions on this and we'll try to see if we can get a perspective. Question number 1. They already said Nasa v'nishma. They already said we're willing to take the Torah. Why is Eibishter taking the mountain on top of us and forcing us? Kaf aleim es ahar kigigis. Do me a favor. Sure. And if you don't, I'll kill you. What? I just said I'll do it. Sure. What does that mean? Question number 1. Question number 2. It sounds very scary. Hashem's gonna bury us like under the mountain, but like a barrel. If you take a cup and you put it upside down, it doesn't kill anybody, it doesn't crush anybody, it just holds them there. It doesn't sound too scary. I mean, okay, we're right now, the airport is still closed, we're stuck in Eretz Yisrael. It's actually interesting that, I don't know when else in history, we've been stuck in Eretz Yisrael. Most times we're being pushed out, but yeah, listen, a lot of Bachim need to be Yared L'Regel, so we'll have to see what happens. But it's not that scary, just holding them there. Kavalam is Har Kigigas, it's not the name of the mountain. A guy once said, why did Hashem take Har Kigigas on top of them? I'm like, Kigigas is not the name of the mountain, it means a barrel. What's Shamtei Kivaraschem? Hashem is about to do it right now. Paitei Kivaraschem. Here will be your burial. What's Pshat and Sham there? What's there? And the last question, okay, what changed in the days of Achashverosh? What changed so drastically that they were all of a sudden ready to Makabel Torah? No more Maidar Rabbi Raisa. Alice is Vaseder, Alice is Git. 4 solid questions. Thank you very much. So there is a Gemara in Bechayris, Chesam Beis. Gemara is talking about Rabbi Yeshua, who was debating the Be'atuna. Now, many times in history, there's many famous stories of different debates that Jews had to debate the non-Jews. There was a famous story of a Rav. The king made a debate between the priest and a Rav. And he said, if the priest wins, we'll leave you alone, we'll take off the taxes. Obviously, it's all about money. How do you know the Gemara was written by Yidden? Kesef, Minalon! And if not, the Jews will, if the Rav loses, whatever, the Jews will have to leave town. But there was one condition. It all had to be pantomime. Miming, no words, no talking. Because a mime is a terrible thing to waste. So, everybody's gathered around, everybody's looking at this beautiful. They're looking at this huge mimid, and they're sitting there and they're looking out, and no, I'm just distracted by the bus, I'm sorry. The priest goes like this. He got him good. So the rabbi goes. The priest says, oh my gosh, I didn't expect him to respond so quickly and to the point. So the priest goes, And the rabbi looks at him and it goes like this. And the priest is going, whoa, I was not expecting that. So the priest goes, all right, is ready? Takes out a loaf of bread and a bottle of wine. And the rabbi looks at him, little smile, pulls out an apple. And the priest says, that's it, I lost, it's over. This rabbi's too smart, he's getting it all. I'm done. Let the Jews stay, we'll take off their taxes. I can't. Beautiful, everybody leaves. The king calls over the priest, can I talk to you for a second? Sure, king, yes, what would you like? I obviously understood all of that, but some of my servants didn't understand it. Why do you expect me like a 6th grader would understand it, right? Are you smarter than a 5th grader? So he says, very simple, king. I went like this, God is up in heaven. And the rabbi said, no, God is here with us. So I said, but there's 3, the Father, the Son, and the Holy. And he said, no, Hashem Echad. Then I took out my loaf of bread and my bottle of wine. I said, the only way to get close to God is through communion. Because after the sin of Adam and Eve, they can't get close to God without communion. And he pulled out an apple to symbolize, even after the sin of Adam and Eve, we can still get close straight to God. The king says, wow, that is amazing. Back in the shul for Mincha, right? Should I say a story of a Rav who's Say a story of a Rav who's giving a shir on the Eibishter and how beautiful Eibishter, and the guy yells out, enough about the Eibishter, let's daven. So back in the shul for Mincha, they said to the Rav, can you tell us what happened? We didn't really follow it. And he said, to tell you the truth, I really don't have a clue. He said, well, can you try to give us a little explanation? He said, you Jews, get out of here. So I said, we're staying right here. He says, then I'll slap you. I said, then I'll poke your eye out. Then he took out his lunch, I took out my lunch, and it was over. So Rabbi Yeshua is debating the Be'at Tuna. And this condition of these debates was riddles. They were riddling each other. So the Be'at Tuna, the wise men of Athens, say to Rabbi Yeshua, Milcha kisaria b'may malchile. When salt spoils, what do you salt it with? Because we know salt is a preservative. So when your preservative spoils, what do you preserve it with? He says, with the placenta of a mule. The Be'at Tuna look at him and say, mules don't have placentas. And he said, exactly, and salt doesn't spoil. Strange Gemara, peculiar Gemara. Arts girl. What's going on? What is a mule? A mule is a crossbreed between a female horse and a male donkey. It has amazing milas over both of them, and it's a lot more capable. But it has one chisaron. It's sterile. It can never reproduce. Now we're going to try to answer all these questions with this. First question, Medrash Chum already answers. Why did Hashem need to force them, even though they said Nasav and Ishma? Because they were only prepared to accept Torah Shebechsav, not Torah Shebal Peh. So right here, right now, they were able to accept for the Torah right now. But when you go to Eretz Yisrael, mitzvahs tluis ba'aretz, you have to be able to understand it. Lav dafka you'll be able to understand it. So it applied right now. So Hashem need to force him. No, even Torah Shebal Peh you need to accept. And if not, I'm going to hold you here like a barrel, because the only way you can be Chaim Torah is right here. But come on, the new stuff is happening. Get with the times. Hellenism is sweeping the world. Come on, put on a toga, throw a discus, watch a tragedy. All the geschmack stuff is happening. Come on, it's 200 BCE already. Let's go. The new things are, and the Jews are exiled into Persia, and they're invited to the most gewaldige party ever. Jews have always had this problem. Wherever we are, we always try to get involved in the government, get involved in the politics. We see it in pre-war Europe. We saw it recently for the upsetting outcome of the recent elections. By the way, before these elections, the Amshon Rebbe said to vote for Reagan. Anyway, so there's a lot of Yiddish involved with the government, and we feel always a need to get involved. So when the Jews are invited to come to a party by the king, of course we're going to go. It's not even a shaila. And they go. And the old rabbi goes, Mordechai, don't go. It's mamish osur. Don't go. And they say, Mordechai, come on, get with the times. We got to go. What do you know about the new age, the new times? No, we need you. Don't get me wrong. We need you to tell us if the chicken is kosher or not, but we know what we're doing. They go, and there's a gezerah. And they go to Mordechai, what should we do now? Sakvo efer yutza l'rabim. Start doing tshuva. It's more like al techluv, al tishtur, shlosh yamim, laila v'yoyim, gavanim and arisai. Ultim gain. They start doing tshuva, 3 days of tshuva. They're wearing sackcloth. And then one day, the next day, they're passing by the gallows. They got Mordechai. Hey, Mordechai doesn't wear that kind of hat. That's Haman! Maybe Mordechai actually knew what he was talking about all along. Maybe the salt never spoils. We think the new thing comes out, and all of a sudden we're infested. This is the new zach. It's going to be great. It's going to be gewaldig. A mule doesn't have an afterbirth. A mule does not have a placenta. A mule can never go another dar. So the new thing will come out, and it'll be all geschmack and all amazing. But you know how long it's going to last? 1 generation. Because salt doesn't spoil. The Torah that was given by Har Sinai will never spoil. Will always be l'dairei dairis. And we need a Torah Sheba'al Peh to understand it. They realized in the story of Purim, it can never be lost. It's constant. It's straight. Everything is there. Torah Sheba'al Peh give us the koyach to reinterpret it for wherever we are. We're still connected to Emes Torah La'amitai. That's it. Hadu kiblu b'me'ach Ashverosh. They re-accepted it in the days of Achashverosh. Do we understand what that means? Rabbi Yeshua was telling us l'dairei dairis. People might say, that's it, it's done, it's over. In the 1940s, 1950s, there was some Torah Das was around, there was Brownsville, Chaim Lin was around, there was MTJ. Hamoinam that came in, they were all moving out to Long Island, they were dropping Torah mitzvahs, reform, conservative. They're shrinking. That was the new and exciting thing. What do you mean? The land of opportunity. They're shrinking. Because when you go for the new thing, you know how long it lasts? 1 generation. I heard a very horrifying story. I actually just heard this. A guy told this to me. About a family member of his. And parents, they started dropping a little whatever, but they said, we're going to hold on to our traditions. We'll hold on to this. Beautiful. His sister's dating a guy. That sounds pretty scary. Because we know what we're doing. We'll get with the times. We'll also hold on. No, salt doesn't spoil. We got to live our lives as B'nai Torah, as Erlich Yidin, like the Torah sets up for us. Because that will never spoil. That can never steer us wrong. To quote Country Yossi, so learn the Torah and follow in its ways. It will guide you safely until the end of days. And help your brother in this hour of need. Cause there's a yet sees a hand that writes down every deed. There was an achdus. I need you. We're dying tomorrow. And story Purim, their mom was dying tomorrow. I need you. There was also achdus there. So they had the achdus kishach b'levachad. And they had the hakara. How beautiful the Torah etzem is. And the old Rabbanim. There's a big debate going on right now whether or not you should take the chisun, the vaccine. Big machlokes. Well, I don't know if the gedolim really know all the facts. I don't know. The gedolim have never steered us wrong before. There were times that the gedolim needed to make a mistake because that was the gezerah of the Rebbeinu Shalom. But the gedolim have never steered us wrong before. And they're not going to steer us wrong now. So if a gadol says, take the vaccine, or don't, you trust him. They have a siyata d'shmaya that we can't even fathom. They're godless b'Torah. Because they understand salt doesn't spoil. And they know how to understand the Torah like we can never, hopefully one day we'll be able to imagine it. But right now we cannot fathom. So we follow the gedolim. Chaim Itzkowitz, these people are beyond our comprehension. And we're going to say, well, I don't think Reb Chaim. Story teaches us. Mordechai, the old rabbi, knew all along what the MS is. What to do. And that's the story of Purim. And when we're reading the Megillah, think about this. Think about the matzah that the Jews were in. Because they thought, we're going to get with the times. We're going to put on some baggy pants, pocket pants, whatever, cargo pants. I'm kidding. That's what they thought. And Mordechai saves the day. Because Mordechai was a true tzaddik. And he understood how to reinterpret the Torah even for Gullus. It's a story for us as we prepare for this new Kabbalah Torah. Hadar Kiblu b'mechasherish. Let's keep that in mind. Let's try to be mechazik ourselves in this Inyan, especially during these very hard times where there is no normal anymore. People live with a sense of normalcy. Purim is a story that there is no normalcy. But az yemale schayk pinu. Then in Mirza Hashem we're going to laugh. Why? Because you laughed unexpected. You don't know what's going on. You don't know the kind of event. It doesn't make any sense. And then when you see the final outcome, az yemale schayk pinu, we're laughing. And that's what we do in Purim. We sit there and we laugh. My friends, have an amazing Chodesh Adar. Have an amazing Purim. Try to keep this in mind. Try to mechazik ourselves. And we should all be zeicha to a happy, a gesund, and a very safe Purim, Be'ezras Hashem.